Now, I know it's been like forever since I said this video was coming out, but moving house, work, life in general has kept this little strategy on the quiet, other than my Twitch regulars that have seen this in action months ago. But finally, one of my favourite Anti-Traya lineups is here for everyone to see. So how would you like a team that needs no Zetas, can go first despite equal mods, and doesn't need to be gear 12? Well, if that sounds good, let's break it down, go through some tips, and revive the Empire. First off, I'll show a Palp variation. Now, what we need to do is use Thrawn to allow Death Trooper to remove any taunts and increase cooldowns. Once that's done, Palp can drain health from his own team, allowing Probe Droid to kill off Traya immediately. Once a unique is gone, it's a case of just removing tanks and mopping up the entire team. While my team is gear 12 and fully Zeted, ideally I'd have no Zetas at all. Tarkin's lead, for example, makes this harder by leading to more debuffs from the Expose, allowing Traya to gain more protection and sometimes survive the Probe Droid's self-destruct. I'd say the only somewhat useful one is Thrawn's unique, but again it's really not required for this. As you can see, the battle is largely won. It's just a case of increasing cooldowns with Death Trooper's grenade, some stuns, some fractures, and then using Deathmark to quickly finish off each character. Right, Sith Trooper's all but finished. He's gone. We'll get rid of Nihilus now. Increase the cooldowns. Get a fracture. Some stuns. It really is just that simple. It's not a particularly difficult team to run. The only thing really is getting the turn order correct. Once you've got that sorted, it's easy and just runs itself. Right, there's Deathmark. Finished and finish. Oh, there we go. Right, now I'll break down each character, explaining the kind of gear and what's actually expected of the character, and we'll follow up with some footage against the Thrawn variation. First off, our leader, Grand Moff Tarkin. Now why Tarkin? It comes down to his leadership, 28 speed gain for Empire characters without a Zeta. This means if your mods are a bit slower than the enemy, your Thrawn is still going to go first, by which point the ball is rolling and Traya's team is already in trouble. His gear isn't that important. Even if he dies, his lead remains. The others do the killing. Neither of his Zetas are needed. In fact, as I mentioned earlier, his lead Zeta is actually going to be more of a hindrance. Now, Imperial Probe Droid. IPD has one purpose in this team, and that's kill Traya. Its gear is unimportant. All that matters is ensuring it goes after Thrawn and Palpatine, otherwise it'll screw up the entire turn order. Thrawn is a fairly important part of this team. His addition saves you having to have great speed on Death Trooper, as he can just transfer the turn meter across, allowing you to remove taunts and increase cooldowns. The upside is while your Thrawn needs to go first, unless you have utterly terrible mods, you won't have an issue going before the enemies, thanks to Tarkin's 28 speed bonus that the enemy won't have. So max mods versus max mods, you're going to go first regardless. Fracture is valuable here, particularly with Sith Trooper variations. A Zeta on his unique to prolong the fracture can be useful, but it isn't required still. Good gear is going to be needed, however, as Thrawn hits hard and can come in quite useful offensively once the battle is in your favour. If you don't have Thrawn, you're going to need to have much faster mods. A previous version of the team that I used involved a different attack order and had Chopper in Thrawn's role. He can remove taunts without debuffing and therefore prevents Traya gaining protection. So I used Chopper and Death Trooper to shut down the enemy team. Thrawn is just an easier, safer bet, and by now pretty much everyone that's going to face Traya should have a decent Thrawn. Death Trooper is a very important part of the team. It's his Deathmark that allows a safe cleanup of the rest of the enemy squad. His grenade special also increases cooldowns to keep Nihilus at bay and reduce Palpatine's stuns. He is, however, going to need to be geared up. At least his speed isn't vital, as Thrawn can allow Death Trooper to go first, and from that point it doesn't really matter. But he will need to be a high gear, as he is one of the most important damaging characters you'll have. Lastly, Emperor Palpatine is an absolute must, and he must go after Thrawn in terms of speed, as he'll need to drain life from Imperial Probe Droid to allow an instant self-destruct. From that point, he'll serve well with his damage output, shock and stuns. High gear is essential for Palpatine, but again, anyone facing Traya has already been through the Palpatine metas and is likely to have him at decent level anyway. Neither of his Zetas are required for this strategy, just lots and lots of speed. Okay, let's get into another battle, this time against a Thrawn variation because this seems to be one of the more popular Traya builds that I see, at least on my shard. Okay, first off, Thrawn sends TM to Death Trooper, he removes Taunt and increases cooldowns, Pout drains life, and Probe Droid will self-destruct. Okay, well this is what I mentioned before, Tarkin's lead Zeta has caused multiple exposed debuffs and Traya has gained enough protection to survive self-destruct. Fortunately, Thrawn hit quick enough and, yeah, mopped her up. Right, we'll Deathmark Scion as he's bound to spread more pain and will keep me targeting him anyway. Sith Trooper will be dealt with next, we'll shut him down with a Fracture and hopefully take out Nihilus before he messes things up, which does occasionally happen. Joys of RNG. Okay, we should have Fracture any second. Yeah, there we go. We're a bit away from Deathmark, which isn't ideal. Hopefully he takes out Tarkin if... Oh, we did. Okay, we got a bit lucky there. Alright, it should be a very, very simple mop-up now. We'll get Deathmark, get rid of Nihilus. Gone. We're going to get some protection back on Thrawn here. Keep Death Trooper moving. Ideally, what I need to do here is Deathmark, Sith Trooper, and Fracture Thrawn, and that'll be a very, very easy cleanup. Right, let's get him fractured. Stun them both. No, we just got one of them. Let's get more protection on Thrawn. Deathmark. Ah, of course he removed it. There we go, both stuns, get that Deathmark back on. Finished, and just Thrawn remaining. And there we have it. Yeah, we got a little bit lucky with Nihilus targeting Tarkin, although he could have taken out either Palp or Thrawn and we would have been okay, but if he had taken Death Trooper, that probably would have gone very, very wrong. But that's how Arena is. You guys know how much RNG you can play when taking on the meta teams with an anti-meta sort of counter. So when it comes to speeds, you just want to be in the region of the enemy. You don't actually have to be as fast as them. Tarkin's additional 28 will give you a bit of a cushion, and the characters that need most speed will really just be Thrawn and Palpatine. Tarkin and Death Trooper don't really need any, but if you have it, use it anyway. The mod sets again aren't that important, it's just about getting the turn order correct. Thrawn has to go first to allow Death Trooper to make the first physical attack. Palpatine second, Probe Droid third, and then it doesn't matter anymore. RNG is going to play a bit more of a factor if you have your Tarkin lead Zetaed. Without the Zeta, this strategy works considerably smoother, but I figured I'd show you a worst case scenario, as I always do, by using a Zetaed lead. Both teams in the video are well modded, but as I've explained, it scales up and down easily because of your 28 speed cushion. If your mods are that much worse than your opponent, then most of the counters are going to be a problem anyway, as would running your own Traya team. What I do like about this team is it is built from a character set that most of us already have developed. Everyone should have a semi-decent Death Trooper, as the Imperial Troopers are fantastic, and his use in Chex Mix is vital. Palpatine has had 2 metas since I've been playing, so almost everyone should have him built. Thrawn is a mainstay in most fleet teams, and Tarkin sprang back into use following Fleet 2.0. And then Imperial Probe Droid can be gear 2 and 5 star, so you're sorted. In conclusion, this is a handy team to use to climb if you don't have Traya yourself. I certainly wouldn't leave it in on defense, as the AI is going to absolutely botch the turn order for sure. I mean, we all remember how badly it used Fulcrum. I wouldn't personally develop this team if you don't already have it close to usable, as it's really just a placeholder until you have your own Traya squad. But one possible use for it would be in territory wars, as a way to help clean up the Traya wars without having to use your own Traya team to counter it. Most of the counters like Fin Resistance require incredible speed with better mods than the opponent. This one doesn't. It also requires gearing the likes of Fin and Poe up, who don't serve a whole lot of purpose in the game, unlike the members of this team. So to wrap up the video, guys, if you've liked it, please hit like and subscribe. I'll be back with more videos shortly, and until next time, we out of here.